Um, I'm trying some new angles on the camera because I've noticed that you really can't see. There's always a hand in the way. It's it's a dilemma to me. And I got a nice happy song going that I made. And I know everybody has different taste in music, but if I don't have music, all you're going to hear is like gurgling and breathing, and you hear everything because I got a mic right in my face. So I got to have a buffer between all the disgusting human noises that happen. So, hey, guess what I'm working on here? I'm gonna give this away to somebody on here, I think. Yeah, it's gonna be a YouTube giveaway. So I'm gonna work on this probably for a couple different videos, because I'm gonna today just work in the black line. Then later I'll do another video where I'm coloring it, because that's how you get followers and people to subscribe. I want people to subscribe. I've asked real nice. I'm still asking nice. Won't you subscribe to my channel, please? Oh, please, oh, please. But that doesn't seem to do it, so I'm going to have to go all American and start bribing people here. So I'll do that by giving away a piece of art every once in a while, or something. Maybe a book or something I've made in the past. Some socks. Something like that. So I guess this is the new way. Now, the way we used to do it to get people to pay attention is we used to run ads in magazines and fanzines and things like that, and we would get people to send in for a catalog to sell them t-shirts and stuff. I'm not even trying to sell anything, and the reason I'm doing this is for a couple different reasons. There's no money in YouTube, really. I mean, you got to have so many millions of people to follow you to make money, and then you only make a couple $100. Because it's I just think people should support independent things. Support each other. You know, there used to be this thing, and there's still a ghost of it left around, or a facsimile to it, called punk rock. And I was very attracted to punk rock. And it wasn't even necessarily for the music. It was because you could be independent, and you could be a misfit. You didn't have to play into the mainstream to. It eventually built its own economy. I mean, if you wanted to work within the punk rock scene, you could, but you had to connect, and you had to want to work. A lot of people didn't want to, but I did. I liked making things back then as much as I do now. And I didn't have to do the mainstream shit. I did mainstream rock and roll even before that, with big giant bands. We'll talk about that some other day, but it drove me to punk rock, really, and I think that's how it worked for a lot of people. So there used to be hundreds and hundreds of independent record stores and independent record labels. Some guy would just go, hey man, I'm going to start a record label because these mainstream people will never pay attention to what we like, so we're going to do it ourselves, man. And but the human thing eventually kicked in, Now the punkers that were rebelling against rock stars, now they want to be treated like rock stars. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And the independent record labels eventually became a threat to the big labels, and they sold out. And then the formats changed, and there was nobody there to stand firm. And now every band gets ripped off. There's no way even for the big bands to make real money like they used to, because they've lost control. They let it slip by, man. There's still some independent people. You gotta work, though. So we used to do this thing with the catalogs. But hey, back to the other subject, though. Punk rock, we had a real community. Kind of. There's definitely a scene that pretty much catered only to that, in the business and in the music itself. I worked with the promoters. I worked with I had hundreds of record stores that we sold t-shirts to, and they were all basically punk rock record stores. And there was magazines and industry magazines, and all these independent labels supported the bands and gave them money to tour, which created money for them to make their merchandise and all that. Well, see, the big labels came up and bought all those little labels out. Now, if you're on a major label, you're not getting a record deal unless you give them your merchandise too, because there's no money in music like there used to be. It's in the merchandise. So bands that hope to be on a big label, not only do they have to sign away their music, they have to sign away their merchandise. I wonder when people are going to wake up and start getting independent again. I don't know, man. I know there's a few people out there still, but there needs to be a lot more, man. And that's why you should support things like YouTube. Even though I know a big giant corporation behind it, but this big giant corporation makes a platform for independent people to do things like what I'm doing here. Is the main reason I'm attracted to this is because it's independent. I don't have to beg and squeal to get on here. I can just do it, you know. And I'm going to start supporting other people like me on here, and other artists and musicians, and unless I get tired of it and just quit doing it, which there is a possibility of that too. But say, hey, back to the punk rock marketing. I always really liked mail order for some reason, that you would get money in the mail. I even took classes on it once. I'm talking like in the 70s. And so me and Chuck Biscuits used to do mail order t-shirts out of the shop. I'll apologize now, because we were kind of fuck-ups too. But we used to do this thing, and I'm thinking of doing it for an old school kind of giveaway, maybe. It was called SASE. Do you know what that means? That means send a self-addressed envelope. So when you get the envelope, we put something in it and send it back. So I don't have to pay for postage, and you get something for free. We used to do that with catalogs. And we'd send $1 and a SASE, and we're going to send you a catalog. Well, we did most of the time, but I remember once me and Biscuits, Chuck, were in the shop. And boy, we found a big old box full of envelopes. Like maybe from a year or two before, I don't know, but they were old. And there was a bunch of $1 bills in there, and back then we didn't have any money. So that was like Christmas came early, man. I think we got a case of beer probably. but I won't do that now. So maybe I'll do something like that. Do something old-fashioned. So there was a handful of people doing mail order back then, but in punk rock. But I think the best one, who was really good at it, was Marlene. Marlene at Zed Records in Long Beach. And when I first met Marlene, Zed Records was on 7th Street. And I was just kind of getting into the t-shirt thing with the punk rock stuff. And I went in and asked if she would ever want to buy some t-shirts from us. And she was really receptive to us. And eventually I started doing a whole lot of t-shirts for Zed Records. And but there was a problem. We would fight all the time because Marlene, even though she bought stuff from us, we kind of did the same thing, but nowhere near as big as she did. So we were competing while we were working together. So sometimes it caused a little trouble, but we were always friends. And in fact, she came over to the shop once, and to pick up shirts or something. And while she was there, we got conned, man. Some con guys came into my shop in Long Beach, and first they conned us. And I'll tell the whole story some other time, but it went kind of like this. Me and Biscuits and Marlene, of course we got suckered into the greed because we were going to get a good deal on something, right? So we bought into it. And after a little while, I left with this guy to go pick up the stuff, right? Well, Marlene wanted 2 of the same things we were getting because she got suckered into the greed too. And so they waited, Marlene and Chuck waited at the shop while I went to follow through on this deal with this guy. Anyways, I started figuring out the con on the way. And eventually I knew that, it just dawned on me. It didn't dawn on me, I figured it out. This guy's conning me, man. And so I wasn't going to be separated from the money. I had Marlene's money and our money. And when it came time to give him the money, I said, no, you bring me the stuff, and then we'll go check it out back at the shop, and then I'll give you the money. And he said, nah, man. I go, yeah, man. He said, nah, man. I said, yeah, man. And next thing you know, I got a gun in my face. And so the con didn't work, so he robbed us. So I had to go back and tell Marlene and Biscuits, man, I got ripped off, you know. And Marlene kind of made a big deal out of it. And she said I was going to have to go over to her house and explain to her husband, Mr. Zampelli, what happened. And man, I was really nervous about that, you know. I'd never met him before. I thought maybe he was some big old mean gangster guy or something. And she kept going, you gotta come over, you better come over. And I'm like, all right, man. So finally I got up the nerve and went over to explain to Mr. Zampelli that we got ripped off, you know. And he was kind of like sitting at the table having coffee, kind of like waiting for me to get there, right? And he was really cool. Mr. Zampelli was a very cool man, and and I told him the story, and they let me spill my guts out, and I think Marlene was enjoying every bit of it, and watching me squirm. And he just laughed. When I got done telling him, he just started laughing. He goes, hey, did Marlene tell you about all the other times she got conned? I said no. And then we just laughed about it, and it was real cool. But Marlene ruled at mail order. Zed Records kicked ass at distribution and mail order, and the whole thing, every part of it, revolved around punk rock. Punk rock had its own economy if you wanted to be part of it. You didn't have to be part of the mainstream. You didn't have to suck into all this bullshit that's going on right now. You could do your own thing, and I'm going to keep on doing my own thing forever, man. And I'm going to do that by supporting stuff like this. So here comes the bribe to you guys. I'm not going to con you. I'm going to bribe you. Want a piece of art? You got to subscribe. And you should leave a comment too. I will figure out the total way I'm going to do it before I finish this piece of art. Probably another video, I'll be done. But in the meantime, you're going to have to subscribe to get a chance to win it. Alright, that's pretty fair. Because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send somebody a piece of art for nothing. Alright? I'm going to draw it. I'm going to paint it. I'm going to put it in the mail to you. I'm going to get some kind of comment generator to pick a winner. So subscribe and comment if you want to win. I might do a couple pieces and pick a few people, you know? It depends how many people do it and partake, but so subscribe if you want to have a chance. If you're already a subscriber, all you gotta do is leave a comment. Say hi, Otis, or anything. I don't care. Say you suck, Otis, whatever. I just don't care. Just leave me a comment, because then I can use one of those generators to randomly pick a winner. So it's not like I'm picking my friends. My friends know if they come hang out, they're usually going to get something from me anyway. So, and vice versa. That's why we're all friends. So this is a little landscape of a place that I would like to live in. Everybody knows I want to live in a weird house. And I think every neighborhood should look like this, or kind of, just different. I'm not into the whole code enforcement. Let humans come and go. If people are too stupid to build a safe house, that is what we call self-culling of the herd. The world will become a better place in between the tragedies, right? So that's how it works. I think we need to start putting the babies out on the ice again, and doing some of the ritualistic stuff that sorted out the shit. You know how Native Americans pick their chiefs? Do you know how they know who the upcoming chiefs are going to be? I don't know if this is true of all tribes, but they know very early, because they watch the kids. They find out who the natural leaders are. It didn't happen because of bribes, or even because of votes. They just knew who the leaders were by observing behavior. Who was powerful leader and fair and cool? Who could be trusted with that kind of power? We could use a little bit of that, I think. So hey, enough of that. You want to get some free art? Maybe something else? Maybe I'll give away some stickers or a pair of socks or something, So I think I kind of covered everything I wanted to right now. So right now it's just a black line. I'll color it later. So next time I pop on here, we'll be in the coloring mode. And in the meantime, you can subscribe for a chance to get some free junk from me. And don't just subscribe to me. I'm gonna start linking other artists on here. You know, there's people that want to learn how to draw and paint. Go watch Chet Zar, man. Go watch that guy paint. That guy's amazing. I don't think he even talks. He just paints. I want my friend Alex Mack to come on and get a channel and start painting. And there's some people that have been reaching out to me. Maybe I'll do I'll put some down below on this video if I can figure it out. And you can go check them out. So it's just support people when you can. It's a good idea, man. It's a real good idea. Let's get independent again. Let's disconnect from all this bullshit that's going on and make the world a better place to live. You remember that movie Generation X about the skinhead? Remember what the guy said? Ask yourself, what did you do today to make the world a better place? Something like that, right? You get it? See you later, alligator.